Vintage Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio. Mid-Ohio. I'm Jonathan Green, alongside me, Ben Sissel, and we've been looking forward to this one particularly for two reasons. One, we love Miatas, but two, this is going to be exciting and a lot of fun. Ben, why are you anticipating this one with glee?
We've never had. Well, we just added vintage Miatas to SVRA just a couple of years ago, and we have not had a bad race yet. And a lot of people were really against Miatas and vintage racing. A lot of people, like me, don't look at Miatas as vintage race cars.
Well, I was about to say
but they are. They came out in 1989, people, and they are some of the greatest race cars. This is a vintage spec Miata class, the first three iterations of Miata racing out here at Mid-Ohio, and they always put on a good show. We were with them last weekend. They were our featured mark at Road America, and both feature races, the top 3 or 4 cars finished within a half a second of each other.
You know why? It's because, a bit like Formula 4, they don't age these things. I know, I mean, the thing is, the Miata hasn't really changed that much in its existence. So even when you look at a modern day Miata, you think, oh yeah, there's a you know, it's just a Miata. But it could be all the way back to the late 80s, all the way to, what, 2005.
Yeah, and they're so much fun. And I am a fan of British cars. I love British cars. And basically, a Miata is a reliable British car.
Well, it's a Mazda. It can't be a British car.
It isn't. The Japanese took British car design and made it reliable.
I know what you mean. So, here we go. But it is very similar to the old MGs of the past, the Mazda Miata. And it is a cracking car. And it's one of the few cars I've actually raced. And it is like a giant go-kart. But across the line they come. A huge field for this Miata Classic. Here we go. And look at that. Great start. And just in terms of the field we're looking at, Ben, how equal is this field in terms of power and preparation?
Very equal. I think there's 2 classes, NA and NB. You can see the cars that have the flip-up headlights, but like right now we've got an NA and an NB going into turn 1 side by side. So it's really, this car comes down to the drivers, and there's a lot of drafting. You're going to see that they want to form up in trains of 4 long because they all go faster in a group than they do single. So right now we've got Davis coming into Madness. He actually won our event here last year. Super fast Miata driver, but looking 4th place at Mark Cephalo. Mark Cephalo's always at the top. He really knows how to work these cars with momentum. And look at this huge group of Miatas coming over, man. It's a great sight.
That's beautiful, yeah. And as you say, the reason why they're so popular as a race machine is that they're easy to prepare. Without being rude to Mazda, they're cheap, especially when you're ripping out of them weight-wise, and go racing. I mean, there's really not a lot to them, and yet they feel like a sort of, well, they feel very low to the ground. Like I said, it's the one car I've actually raced around a track in, and it's a joy to drive. You don't feel intimidated, but you get plenty of speed out of them, mid-corner speed, so on. They respond well. They don't do anything they shouldn't. They don't catch you out much. Oh, except now! Oh, that was incredibly lucky. Very, very lucky. Frank Todaro getting it completely wrong in the 35. And he was actually in 6th place there before that spin. And somehow everybody avoided it.
Yeah. And look at this train coming through, led by Jonathan Davis, Dave Heckler right behind him. But what a great race we have here already. There's a field of 5 going up front, trying to make a train. But because we split, because of that turnaround, so there's a little bit of a gap. And now those guys coming back to second, that mid-pack, they need to form up train time next front.
Yeah, and is that the case that literally if they run in packs, they're going to be faster?
Yeah, quite a bit. It's just the whole drafting thing, like why did Goose fly on V's?
Or maybe we should get them in a V. Yeah, thanks, right.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll finish in a V.
So we are watching SVRA from Mid-Ohio. Finally the sun's come out. We are racing in the real world. No more E-Trans Am Championship, which me and Ben have been doing for the last 6 weeks. Now we're back to the building here at Mid-Ohio. Delighted to be back. And delighted to have such a strong field. How does Tony do it? You've been around this for a long time. How does he get so many entries? Or is it just the sheer enthusiasm of vintage racing?
Well, vintage racing is amazing. It's like, the way I describe it to my friends, it's like a time machine. You come out here and you see cars racing from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. But really, I don't know how Tony does it. I don't know how he has the energy. The guy works harder than anybody that I know. He puts together deals, and he, as soon as this whole COVID-19 pandemic happened, he was already calling all the tracks, being super proactive, making sure that we still had a schedule for our competitors, for our sponsors. Everything he does is making sure that our competitors and vintage racers have a great experience.
Yeah, that's great news, and it shows in the numbers. Over 400 cars here this weekend, right?
Yeah, and from all walks of life. Like if you don't find something here you like, then you don't like cars.
Very true. As I know it's a very old and well-used cliche, but yeah, we don't put our art on the wall, or in a museum, or in a garage, or garage, whichever you go race it. And that's what we do here, as you say. We just don't necessarily fit into the obvious category of business, but as you rightly pointed out,
and the beauty of it is, you know, I've heard rumors and read articles that it was based on Lotus Elan and MG Midget and MGB and all these great cars. They took all the best of that and they said, well, we should make Mazda. You were talking about Mazda might be offended if they're cheap. I think Mazda went out of their way to design a car that would be affordable. And look at this every weekend.
There's more Mazda Miatas on a racetrack than anything else.
Well, that's the point, is that this was one of the few cars, and put it in a drop head, give it a chance to be a convertible, and it really is the ultimate and affordable sports car, and convertible, and hard top or convertible, doesn't matter. They're just great cars.
They are great cars, but look at this racing. We've got Jonathan Davis and Lee Heckler. We've got Mark Cephalo fighting it out right there, the number 21 of John Guthrie and Brian Murdoch as they come through in a little train. Looks like Mark Cephalo is going to have to really try to catch up. He's in that 5th position. But Jonathan Davis, right now he's looking good. But I tell you what, when they come up to the last lap, they were telling me on the podium at Road America that you actually want to be in 2nd or 3rd position when you're running in a tight train. That's actually the catbird seat in the Mazda Miata racing as Davis leads the pack into the keyhole at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for this Mazda Miata Heritage.
Yeah, and it's not a particularly long race, so they've got to get it on and they've got to get it together. And don't let them get off with this 17 really pushing hard. Brian Murdoch right there on the back straight and looking for a way. I mentioned there's so many races here in Mid-Ohio. The next chance for an overtake is coming into the braking point now. And he's like, we'll see if we can get that on today. But it's nice. Cambered into that right-hander, so if you do mess it up, the road kind of catches you a little bit and just helps you around the corner.
It does, but one thing about Mid-Ohio to keep in mind, because these are really light cars, and they don't have the best traction because they're so light and they don't have a lot of power. But the racing line in Mid-Ohio is getting ground down to almost like a smooth, polished concrete. So sometimes the racing line, it's hard to find traction.
Yeah, no point. No, good point. And you're right, they're very light, these cars, and you like it, but they're also not, like you say, the power is not there. It's all about keeping the momentum. What you don't want to do is brake too hard, lose the momentum, and then have to be crawling out of a slow corner and trying to get that momentum back. It's a very flowing circuit. It's a tricky circuit to get perfectly right. But you just want to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, if you can drive them out fast and well and smooth, you are a really talented driver. And if you can get yourself in a horsepower race car, you're going to be so much faster than the other guys. Because if you can drive a horsepower car with momentum, you're just going to pass everybody. You can't make up for any mistakes in the auto with the horsepower that they have.
That's a good point. So Jonathan Davis doing a really good job. There's Jeremy Butts in 6th place overall and 4th in the MB class. Currently 6th overall. His best lap at 1:45.2.
So look at this right here for 2nd, 3rd, 4th is coming in.
Yeah, they've allowed Davis to get away, and they need to sort of work as a pack here. And this is the battle for first place in the MB class.
Oh, Mark Cephalo. So close. Mark Mark Cephalo has really good car control and can put the car anywhere. And right there, a couple more coats of paint there to contact.
Yep. So the field spread out quite dramatically. 4 laps in the books, and the gap 1.9. In fact, it's gone up, I think. I have it at 1.94 officially. So Jonathan Davis starting to stretch his legs here. And here's that battle for second place. We've got a distinct battle for second and third, and a distinct battle for third and fourth. Cephalo just at the back in the brightly coloured blue and yellow.
And I tell you what, we're about to post some Miata stuff that we were filming at Road America last weekend, and I was surprised to see they actually work together. They point to each other when they come up on lap traffic, like we're going to pass on the left, stay in the train, because they really don't want to break the train. Right now, second, third, fourth, and fifth place really need to work together to try to break the air, to try to catch up to Jonathan Davis, who's currently in first place with a pretty large gap. And right now, 21 isn't working with the team.
I'm about to say, it's the off time we've got left. I think it's every man for himself. But here comes Cephalo. Ooh, we thought about it. You're right, 21 on what's by. He doesn't want to play the game. And he has come side by side now with Murray. There's your leader. Davis on his way surely to victory here in the first of 2 Miata races.
Yeah, so far they haven't had trouble with lap traffic, which is odd. I guess if the race is short enough and these Miatas are so tightly contested, lap traffic takes a little bit longer. But if you get a Miata race with lap traffic, that's when things start to get really hairy.
Yeah, very much indeed. And it's amazing because this field is a big field of over 26 cars in all, and yet the field is spread right out in a very short space of time, just 4 laps, and they're already right across the track.
Yeah, knowing Jeremy Butts right there in the 69 car, I think he's currently 6th. He's just really wishing he could either catch up to the group or the guys behind him would work with him. But watch Mark Cephalo to scare himself.
Yeah, he's certainly been eyeing up a move, and as they come through here, he's just not close enough, I don't think. There's your leader.
And there's a gap now. It's just a third, fourth, and fifth that are going to try to work together. They can work together. There's 2 straightaways here now. And if they work together, they should be able to catch that guy in front of them pretty easily.
Now, what are the rules in terms of years of cars?
I'm not totally sure. At first, we only opened up to the first iteration of Mazda, which was the pop-up headlights. And right now, I think we're up to Gen 3 Mazda Miatas in this vintage class, as long as they are set up to spec Miata.
Okay.
So they can't be like full-on like race car or race prep. The engines have to be about the same, except there's different displacements in the 2 classes, A and B. But other than that, they can be Miata. You can put the race components in everything. And then they have to have all the safety features. But the great thing about this, it was really funny because you could buy a spec Miata from Spira, a pretty good one, between $5,000 and $10,000. But almost overnight, as soon as we announced this class, the prices for those shot up, and the demand shot up because everybody's like, I got one in my barn, or I have one in the back of my garage, because they don't take up any space. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like dads will buy one for the daughters or a first car for a son, and it's like, we'll keep that in the family, And you're right, the price point is just, you can't beat it. It's a fun car to drive, whether it be going to work or at the weekend, and certainly in race trim, it's a heck of a lot of fun. And certainly Jonathan Davis is enjoying it. He crosses the line now, and he's got a good gap now between himself and Brian Murdick in the number 17.
Yeah, look at Cephalo, though. It looks like he's gaining. He's going to come into turn 1. He's probably going to follow, but look for Mark Cephalo to try to make a move here at the keyhole, which is turn 2.
Ooh, he gets a tyre just on the grass there. Luckily, he's got away with it, and I don't think he lost any momentum there. But he's pushing on, and the gap now 2.9 seconds to this group we're watching here, who are battling effectively for the podium here in the closing stages of this second race.
If you watch, when they come around the keyhole, that number 37, his right front tire goes off the ground. He basically just got 3 wheels on the ground.
Well, you say they fight trains, but the train has been unhinged, and unhitched I think. These guys are pretty much now not fighting against each other, not with each other. They're giving up. 3 seconds is enough. Now it's a case of who wants the podium.
Yeah, and remember, there's 2 classes in this. So there's the NA and the NB, but actually, right now, I don't know the difference totally.
Sorry.
If I were to guess, I would say it's the one is the pop-up headlight, the first iteration. And the NB is the next one, which is a displacement, I think. I think one's a 1600, one's an 1800, but I'm not totally sure. Because again, to me, these are modern cars. Well, I only know vintage cars.
There wouldn't be a distinction between pop-up headlights and plastic.
Yeah, no. But that's just kind of
it will be displacement, I'm sure, and I think you've got the numbers right. 1600 and 1800 makes sense.
But so what's funny is the smaller displacement cars are first, second, and fifth.
It's the final lap then. Jonathan Davis on his way to a romping 3.5 second lead. There he is, just coming into shot there, out of shot. But the battle is on for 3rd place here for sure. And it's a 3-way battle. There's the next car down the road. And that is Michael Bond, I believe, in 7th place. Yeah, no, sorry, that's Jeremy Butts just going through. There's the number 1, 2, 3 of Michael Bond. And this is the final lap then in our Miata Heritage Cup.
It's just so much fun to watch these guys. Look, we have a little trouble at the carousel. 2 cars off at the carousel there. We don't see that on camera, but we're looking out our window right now.
Oh, yeah. You can see that, yeah. Well, I think they're both going to make the pits, yeah. In fact, yeah. And they're following each other into the pits now after basically realising that there's no point in going for another lap. So, this battle is on for 3rd place. It's going all the way to the finish. We look high and above the Mid-Ohio circuit. There's the leader just at the bottom right-hand shot going into under the bridge. There's 2nd place under the bridge, and this is the battle for 3rd place. And it's going to be a cracker. Can you do anything? I think Davis has got this one. He's got this one by over 3.2 seconds. The 56 coming to the line. And he hasn't put a foot wrong. He put one tire on the grass. It didn't slow him any. And he'll take the checkered flag. And in fact, no change of position. So it is Davis first, 32nd, and John Guthrie taking the 3rd place on the podium. Dave Heckler finishing 4th place. And Mark Cephalo, in the end, finishing at the back of that group in 5th place. Jeremy Butt 6th, Bond 7th, Troma in 8th position, Ciofo in 9th, and Thomas,